morning, everyone. Let's talk about blood. Not in the horror movie kind of way, though, let's be real. The way society reacts to periods, you'd think we were discussing a crime scene. Blood is everywhere in our culture. It's in our action movies where a hero gets punched across the face and everyone cheers as they get back up. It's in our athletics and our sports where if a basketball player falls down and gets a bloody nose, he's suddenly the toughest guy on the court. But menstruation, that's where we draw the line. The moment you mention a period, people react as if you've just confessed to a felony. And that's the problem. If we treat something natural like it's unspeakable, we create a stigma. I said when we treat something natural like it's unspeakable, we create a stigma. I believe that to be true, and if that's the case, what's the antidote to that stigma? That's what I would like to talk to you about today. My name is Shailen Fofaria, and I want to talk to you about the power of conversation and the unique position young people have on it. I was first exposed to the power of conversation when I learned about the menstrual inequities and stigma our world faces. You see, growing up, I was a part of menstrual silence, meaning I didn't know too much about what a period was. Yeah, my mom told me a little bit about it, but there was no true education. And I know we all remember that time in middle school when we grew up, where the boys and the girls got separated. I know, uncomfortable topic, but we have to talk about it. The girls are taken to one room and they learn about menstruation, and the boys stay in another room learning about how their bodies are changing, watching some probably outdated video that no one wants to watch, looking at some outdated chart that, again, no one wants to look at. And it just seems like an embarrassing moment in time. It's in the past, right? But that's not what it is. It's a much bigger moment that symbolizes the fact that menstruation, it's perpetuating the idea that menstruation is only a topic that females need to care about. For 14 years, that was my story. As I said, I lived in this menstrual silence. I didn't understand fully what it was, and this lack of education didn't help at all. But with the co-founding of my company, Sensible, which focuses on menstrual inequities and stigma, I learned that menstruation isn't just a women's issue, because if half the world is affected by something, we all need to care. You see, stigma isn't just uncomfortable. It has real life consequences. Millions of women worldwide don't have access to various period products, and when they do, sometimes the resources that they have aren't accessible to them because the stigma around it prevents proper discussion about it. So let's talk numbers. The menstrual cycle occurs 450 times in a woman's life, but we've yet to normalize it. Globally, an estimated 500 million women go through period poverty, meaning they don't have either access to period products they need or even clean facilities, and in some cases, which I wish I could say rare, but not, both. In the US alone, 1 in 4 teens have to miss either class or even a full day of school because they just can't afford the period products they need to go to school. And to make it all worse, menstrual products continue to be taxed, unlike other necessary goods like canned food and water. Now, don't get me wrong, those are 100% necessary goods. But correct me if I'm wrong, no one chooses to have a period. So that should count also as a necessary good. And it's ridiculous to still see that in 2025, countries continue to debate on whether period products and access to these are a basic right. And it all starts with education, or rather the lack of it. These continuous side conversations with girls, or not talking about it at all, continues to perpetuate the stigma that lead us into adulthood and that we pass on culturally and generationally. So, how do we fix this? It's easy. We start talking. Conversations challenge generational and cultural barriers. These conversations, they start and they stop with youth and their authority figures, the adults in their lives. We learn the stigma from our elders, but we can unlearn it too. Think about it. The more we talk, the more we normalize. And the more we normalize, the less power the stigma holds. And the less power the stigma holds, the closer we are to accepting everybody. You see, menstruation isn't just about focusing on the women. We need to focus on everything. If I were to say the word pad or tampon, people act like I've just confessed to a felony again. But if I say the word tissue, no one even bats an eye. When we place these negative connotations on the words, we're making it a dangerous space for people to speak up and talk about it. But it's not just about normalizing periods, it's a part of a much bigger movement. When young people step up and have these conversations, yes, they're changing the menstrual discourse, they're changing how we talk about it, but they're also challenging a culture of silence. They're able to say, we understand that menstruation is just one of the issues, but there's so many more. When you look at history change, and I mean real change, whether it be in the climate change movement or gender rights, gender equality, Youth people have been at the forefront, refusing to accept the status quo, and menstrual equity is no different. We see nonprofits in the North Carolina area called Period Project NC that ensures that there's period products in bathrooms for girls at school. We see people writing petitions and calling their state legislatures saying, we want an end to the tampon tax because it is a necessary good. We even see social media being used, saying, taking the stigma and turning it into a rallying cry for dignity and equality. You see, youth advocacy isn't just about awareness. We're all aware. I'm sure everyone in this room is aware of what I'm talking about. It's about rewriting the rules, a symptom of a much larger pattern, the way society avoids uncomfortable conversation. You see, this conversation is started by these young people, and it doesn't have to stop there. It can continue on throughout. When they start these conversations, yes, they're talking at first about access to period products, but they're connecting it to larger themes of gender equality and basic human rights. Whether it be organizing these period product drives or calling these legislatures and saying, end the tampon tax, we see that youth aren't taking a break in this action. They're not waiting for someone else to get on the stage and talk about it. They're doing it themselves, and they're inspiring others while they do it. We can see that when they step up, history has shown us that young people can change things. The discomfort that they cause, that's just society realizing it has work to do. The good news is, though, change is happening. Schools, businesses, even governments are starting to listen. For example, in Scotland in 2020, they were the first country in the world to make period products free for everybody. In the US, bigger states like California and even New York are trying to make and are continuing efforts to make period products accessible to women in schools. But it doesn't just stop there. We need to continue on. Because breaking the silence doesn't just mean we're comfortable with talking about it. I hope we're all comfortable with talking about it right now. It means we have to continue on to make sure no one feels disadvantaged or ashamed for something as natural as a period. And beyond just period products, beyond just this menstrual equity, youth activism is powerful. It shows us that when young people break the silence, they create a world where it works for everybody. So please remember that when we treat something natural like it's unspeakable, we create a stigma. The antidote to that stigma then, breaking the silence with uncomfortable conversations. So if you don't remember anything, if this becomes another talk in this amazing TEDx lineup, remember this. Just because my time with you all today is done, doesn't mean the conversation needs to be done, right? It's easier to create change than you think. You just gotta keep talking, period. Thank you.